People say I talk about some weird stuff, some far out stuff. But how about that chair that you're sitting in isn't solid? How weird is that? This reality is nothing like we think it is.
When I saw what Icke is doing, I was a bit jealous of him. Wow, look at what this guy's doing.
I don't know if anybody else could do it but him, actually.
We are in a period now where speaking your truth is not just important, it's utterly crucial to where humanity goes from here. The world needs renegades. Where I'm leading with this is to a news story this week, which I'll come to in a second. But what I mentioned about the whole plan of this conspiracy is to focus attention and to control attention, control perception, thus control behavior. And up to this point, that's been done by controlling information which controls, or which, the information from which people derive their perceptions, which then manifests as their behavior. What we're going into now, if people don't wake up to it, and more are, I'll tell you this as a very quick aside. After the last 3 weeks, and the extraordinary experiences that I've had of a so-called paranormal nature, perfectly normal, just paranormal to program normal, if you follow me. I am more confident than ever that this conspiracy and this control system, which has been working to grab more and more control of human perception, thus human society, I've never in all these years been more confident that it's coming down. And it's not coming down because we fight the enemy. It's not coming down because we stockpile weapons. It's coming down through the very means through which we manifest reality. And I'll go into this. I'm going to start writing another book very soon, which will be the first book of this new direction. And I can't wait because of all the information that's just swirling around my mind, my heart as well, which is where this kind of real movement of observation has taken me out of the head and into the heart. The heart was always there, but now seriously more than ever before. And it is opening up a whole new vista of seeing where this is going and how, despite all the 5 sense evidence there appears to be that says this conspiracy is unstoppable in terms of its goal, it's shown me how it can come down, how it is going to come down in ways that will be magical. Anyway, let's go to this first story, which is all connected to what I've been talking about, because this next stage they want to take us into, and they are taking us into at the moment, or taking people who choose to go there into, is to go beyond just controlling information and thus controlling perception to actually the perception coming direct via artificial intelligence. And they're trying to get AI into us in every way they can, so that AI becomes our mind, our perceptions, while we go on thinking that the perceptions are coming from us. And I saw this story this week. See, I got there in the end. I saw this story this week. Scientists claim to have developed first vaccine, world's first vaccine with artificial intelligence. And they are selling it as this, great breakthrough. This is how they sell the different stages of this control system unfolding, the technological levels of it, by telling us how wonderful it is. Oh, well, put microchips in your brains and you'll all be like gods. No, you will be the gods as they are perceived, and they'll do your thinking for you, and they'll assimilate you into them. That's what it's all about. Anyway, they're trying to sell this AI vaccine as a great breakthrough. A new flu vaccine designed by artificial intelligence has gone on trial in the United States in what researchers are claiming is a world first. Scientists at Flinders University in Australia have developed what they describe as a turbocharged flu vaccine with an extra component that stimulates the human immune system to make more antibodies against the flu virus than normal vaccine, thus making it more effective. Nikolai Petrovsky, professor of medicine at Flinders University in Australia and the lead researcher on the vaccine, said that as far as he knew, this was the first time a flu vaccine had been developed using AI that had progressed to a trial in humans. He said that the use of AI had accelerated the vaccine discovery process, cut costs massively, and had enabled the development of a more effective vaccine. He said AI streamlined the vaccine development process. Normally, big companies like GSK will screen millions of compounds with thousands of people working week in, week out for about 5 years. It costs hundreds of millions of dollars, and they come up with one lead, he said. By contrast, Professor Petrovsky's small research team had taken around 2 years to develop this new vaccine with the help of AI. Earlier this year, the World Health Organization warned that better tools to prevent, detect, control, and treat both pandemic and seasonal influenza were urgently needed, including a better vaccine. Everything is vaccines. What do vaccines do? They allow access to your body and your children's bodies. The vaccine against seasonal flu does not offer full protection. The vaccine used during 2017-2018 flu season in the UK had only a 10% efficacy among over 65s and the average of 15% across all age groups. All right. It works then, because the flu vaccine kind of mutates anyway. So, by the time you get a vaccine that's supposed to be effective against a certain state of flu, it's moved. The Australian researchers created a computer program called SAM, which they taught how to recognize vaccines that worked against the flu and those that did not. They then created another computer program, which Professor Petrovsky likened to a mad scientist to create trillions of imaginary compounds. He then came up with a short list of what was considered to be the 10 most effective targets. So rather than screening millions of compounds, we only worked with a handful, it said. AI uses artificial neural networks which mimic the human brain, recognizing patterns and adapting to change, but it can take in and process far more information than the human brain ever could. Professor Petrovsky said that in 20 years, AI would be routinely used in drug development. AI has progressively been used in clinical decision making, which drugs should I use for which patient, but drug design has been considered such a difficult thing to do. It thought to be beyond the capacity of current AI, but we've shown we can do that. So there are many elements to this story. First of all, in how artificial intelligence is taking over every area of human life that humans used to do and be involved in. And people might think that some of it is a good development, and on the face of it, you might make a case for that. But what's actually happening is AI is taking over human society. It's taking over from human thinking all around us. AI is doing things that humans used to do. And even on one level, when you stop using something because something's doing whatever it is for you, then basically that something starts to go to sleep. Don't use a muscle, and the muscle will waste. don't use the brain, and the brain will basically go to sleep, and areas of the brain will start to shut down because it's not using them. A simple example of, instead of using your brain to process numbers, you use a calculator. That's the most simple example. And so the brain's not calculating numbers anymore. The technology is doing it for you. And so that's one level of it. And the other is that it's not just AI developing vaccines. It's AI in the vaccines in the form of nanochips, which are far beyond far too small to be detected. And the more that we can be internally chipped with this nanotechnology, the more those chips then start communicating with sources of information and frequencies carrying that information from outside of us. And our perceptions start to be manipulated, but also we start to become this hive mind with some central processing unit dictating perception. Now, this may sound far out. I don't care if it does. The truth throughout history has been perceived as far out before it becomes accepted fact. And this is what is going on. I've probably told you this story before. It's certainly been in my books. In the 1990s, I think it was about 97, something like that, I came across this scientist, a CIA scientist, who asked to meet me because he wanted to get information out about what was going on. And I talk about the the whole thing that happened, and the way that he was controlled through drug dependency by this. I don't mean drug dependency like he's addicted to cocaine or something. I mean drug dependency by his body had been manipulated to need a certain drug to stay alive. And if the drug was not given, then he started to die. And therefore, you do what we say or you die. That's the kind of, we are dealing with psychopaths after all. But one thing he said to me in 1997, when nanotechnology really wasn't being talked about then, really, is that they have microchips. They had microchips so small they could be inserted into the body in vaccine programs. And, this is the thing about vaccines. I mean, you look at all the extraordinary stuff that's in them, horrible stuff, which if you kind of just took a step back and looked at it, you'd say, what the heck? People are allowing that stuff to be injected into their bodies? What, are they mad? But people do, because of the program. And so this thing about vaccines, it allows external access by the system into your body. And now we're moving more and more into this whole AI situation. What are they injecting, and what is the effect
Coming to us. Welcome,
Catherine. Turn the video on there by accident. And what do they? What's the effect of what they are putting in there? And of course, the people that are actually, pressing the injection, they won't know what's in there. They just get a pack and they fit it onto a needle and stick it in your body. You've got to go way, way down the line before you reach the point in the vaccine process where they know what's actually in them that we don't know. Terrible enough, what we do know, and what the effect of that is. And here's another story which from this week, which connects into the same thing. I've been on about this now, on and on and on and on, because this is where it's going to go. Here's the headline. An interesting one, given what I've just been talking about. Futurist predicts humans will soon merge with technology in our species' biggest revolution yet, and claims our ancestors would think we are already gods. Well, coming out of that is a number of things. When you are, if you like, not of this world, and you appear in ancient societies, and you appear in craft, or you manifest, which is where the most powerful of them do. They manifest. A lot of these ships, the real non-human ships, not the flying saucers flown by human military in secret technological programs, but the real ones, they can manifest and demanifest because they understand how reality works and the illusory nature of physical reality. But if you were an ancient in that kind of society, and then you saw these phenomena, what would you think that they were? You would think they were the gods. And this is where basically so many of the perceptions, the ancient perceptions of the gods, came from. And they got fused together then as God by these one God religions. So this guy, and it's not the usual suspects like Ray Kurzweil at Google, who's been talking about this for ages. This is another chap. So here's the story. According to one futurist, the next frontier for human innovation is the body itself. No, mate, not human innovation, human control. In a talk at Fast Company's European Innovation Festival, historian and international best-selling author Yuval Noah Harari said that the human body is on a crash course with technology. It's increasingly hard to tell where I end and where the computer begins, Harari said, as reported by Fast Company. Harari is an Israeli, and if people just looked into it, they would be shocked at how much of this smart technology phenomenon and this Internet of Things phenomenon, this AI phenomenon, is focused in Israel. A small, tiny country of 8 million people. I suggest that's not by accident, but anyway, I will be talking all about that very soon. And so he said, in the future, it is likely that the smartphone will not be separated from you at all. My God, he could be reading passages from my books, because this is the agenda. It may be embedded in your body or brain, constantly scanning your biometric data and your emotions. Exactly, mate. Merging humans with technology, Harari said, would represent the biggest revolution humankind has ever known. No, Mr. Harari, it would represent the biggest form, the most extensive, the deepest, the most fundamental form of human control ever known.